Zish. Start streaming.
All right, here we are, week 7 of your 90-day real estate success camp. AJ Ackerman here, and it's great to see ya. So, really quick, a couple things. It's week 7. Guess what? By now, you should start seeing some results. It's so great when we get to this part of the 90-day success camp, because that's when I start getting the text messages and the emails and the phone calls about things starting to work, right? I got a text yesterday talking about, hey AJ, we got a listing and we got a new buyer under contract. I was talking to a brand new agent on Monday who said they have 3 deals under contract in the last 90 days. So how awesome is that? And how are you doing? At this point, you should be starting to see at least a little bit of success, a little bit of movement forward, because that's what it's all about. Even if you're only doing a little bit of the work. So as long as you're at least doing some of the work, you should start seeing some of the results. If you've been handling it every single week, if you've been crushing it and doing your productivity planner and your tracker and really working on being the best version of yourself, working on talking to a lot of people, you're gonna start seeing the value at this point. So we're at week 7. We're halfway through, and it's so exciting to be here. And we're all about people skills now, right? It's about helping you get better at helping people, right? And that's what it's going to be today. And I'm so excited to talk about strong communication skills. But you know what it's all about. It's about the 90-day real estate success camp. It's about helping you create and sustain momentum in your real estate business. And we do that by focusing on clarity, growth, and success. But please remember, right? Don't forget about what's most important. You should be pretty excited about your business at this point, right? You should be enthusiastic every day about growing and helping people, about learning about how to best help people. You should be open and vulnerable to the possibilities, right? To change, to figuring out what's different, and also to handle those struggles, to handle those fears, to handle and stop making excuses for yourself. To be a great learner. Man, you've been learning a lot. Congratulations! I'm so proud of you for taking the time to be a better version of yourself, to learn more about how to be successful in real estate, but also how to change your life, how to create long-term income for yourself, predictable income for yourself, to have the time to do the things that you want to do with the people that you love and care about, right? Challenging yourself every week. Can you do a little bit more this week? How can you be better today than you were yesterday? You know, there's a lot of talk out there about 1%, right? Can you grow by just 1% this week? And can you grow by 1% every single week for the rest of the year? That's huge growth by the end of the year. That's going to help you get to the next level to become one of the top 10%, one of the top 5%, even top 1% agents in the country. Are you creating new habits? Are you getting up earlier? Are you getting to the gym? Are you making your calls? Are you getting on your appointments? Are you creating those habits that help you get to the dream lifestyle that you've always wanted? And relationships. Relationships. It's all about the relationships. Have you been through your phone yet? Have you done the ABCs of real estate? Have you started calling and connecting, right? I was actually doing a one-on-one with a brand new agent this week. And one of the suggestions that I made was, why don't you ask one of your friends to practice, right? Can you ask a friend or family member, hey, you know, would you mind if I come over to the house and practice doing a listing presentation? Or, you know what, would you mind if I came over and just kind of gave you an idea what your home's worth? I know you're not interested in buying or selling, but it would really be great to get your feedback and to have some help. I mean, how cool is that, right? It's about continuing to create, build, and maintain relationships. What about your confidence? Man, your confidence should be growing a little bit by now. You're getting more confident in making the call, in talking to people, in helping people, and helping yourself. And are you having fun and enjoying what you do? Please, 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 make sure you're having fun, right? If you're doing something in real estate that isn't fun, try something different. But if you enjoy it and you have a good time, keep doing it and keep more of it, because that's what's going to help you break through to the next level of sales. Now remember, it's clarity, growth, and success. How are we needing to experience your vision? Do you have a clear vision? Do you have a good understanding of where you want to go? And are you starting to learn what it's going to take? Are you starting to learn your numbers? Are you starting to figure out that if you talk to so many people, you'll get so many appointments? If you put so many new relationships in your CRM, that you're starting to realize you get a return on that. A couple fun facts. Internet leads, right? Cold internet leads, you're looking at 1 to 4% of a turnover, a conversion ratio. If you're talking to your sphere of influence or you're creating new relationships face to face every single week, you're looking at about a 10% conversion over the next 12 months. And as you continue to grow that, those conversions will get better. So really important that you know your numbers, but that you have that clear vision of what needs to happen and where you want to go and how to get there. Growth, continue the training. Have you been reading the books? Have you been listening to the audio tapes? Have you been watching your training programs? Please, if you're starting to get confused or you need to, go back and watch the Real Estate Jumpstart. Go back and watch the last couple weeks modules because it will help you retain. I've got one of my clients who watches the videos multiple times, and they're one of the people that are growing the fastest because it's sinking in, because they're taking little pieces of each video and they're starting to take action towards it every single day. And that's what it takes. That repetition creates retention. Retention creates predictable results, and that's what creates the confidence to continue to keep you excited to do what you need to do. And are you doing your success work? Gosh, I hope so. I love it. We're at the point now where people are like, AJ, I got my little sheet. Are you carrying your tracker with you? Are you paying attention to the numbers? Are you hitting your goals, right? If you're not hitting your goals, are you pushing yourself more the next week? If you're hitting your goals and you're exceeding them, are you celebrating? Remember, celebrate your successes, right? It's all about enjoying and feeling successful because so many of us get stuck in the struggle. We get stuck in the fears. We get stuck with what's not working when there is a lot of stuff working. There's a lot of stuff to be proud of. And when you start focusing more on the successes and what you're doing well, you'll start doing more of it. So today, we're going to start with a little reflection and review. Remember, what were your top 3 successes last week? And it's okay if it's in life or business. Did you get a sale last week? Did you put something under contract? Did you get a listing? Did you make a new friend, right? Did you see that something worked? Did you get up every day? Like, what was it for you? So write it down. And if you haven't yet, please be sure to print out your workbook, right? Follow along, write notes. You're gonna have all of these little aha moments. You're gonna have ideas that pop up. And if you don't write them down, you can't make them real. So just write every thought down, write every idea down. And at the end of the module, at the end of the training, you can go back and reflect on your notes and say, okay, this week I'm gonna take action towards this. And we talk about it at the end of the module. This week I'm gonna take action towards that. Over the next couple months, I wanna kind of see if this will work. So please make sure you just put everything down, because if it just stays in your brain, it's never going to become a reality. There's magic that happens when you take the thoughts out of your mind and you write them out on paper. They become real. They become tangible. They become actionable items. And that's what helps you become successful, right? That's what helps you get to the sales volume you want to get to. That's what helps you have more fun, joy, and excitement in your real estate business and your life. So what were your top 3 successes? What were your top 3 struggles last week? What did you struggle with? Did you struggle getting started or talking to enough people? Did you struggle getting out of bed and getting to work? Like, what did you struggle with? Did you struggle with drinking a lot of water? Did you struggle at a listing appointment? Like, what was the biggest struggle? Are you struggling with social media? We don't want to live in the struggle, but we need to acknowledge the struggle, right? If you see that you're struggling with the same thing, how can you turn that struggle into a success next week? I've been kind of talking about this a little bit more lately. How do you turn your struggles into your successes so that when you answer these 2 questions every week, you're seeing new struggles, because they're not going to disappear. There's always going to be something that's holding you back. There's always going to be something that's stopping you. And the faster that we acknowledge and change direction, the faster we have more successes, and we have bigger successes, more ambitious successes, right? We got to start with the small wins. We got to be focused on those things that you're doing every day that are helping you compound, that are helping you get to the next level. But we also got to make sure we're turning those struggles into small successes and then celebrating the big successes, right? If it's been 7 weeks and you've been really working hard at building your business, you've been working hard at creating and generating new business, if you're at the point you're close or you're getting it, celebrate, feel it, understand it, look back and realize all the work it took to get there, because it's going to be continual, right? Right now, we're just helping you lead gen. We're helping you create relationships. We're helping you get contracts. But you got to remember that you got to create, build, maintain, and continue to maintain those relationships to create new business. When you get that real estate process down and you start mastering those skills, that's how you grow exponentially long term. That's how you get to 12 closings a year. That's how you get from 12 to over 30 closings a year. And that's how you get to 50 to 100 closings a year, is by continually doing that, improving it, and expanding upon it. So great job. All right. Do you have people skills? We're in people skills for the next few weeks. So exciting, because we're in the people business. Remember, it's about providing a service. It's about helping people, and it's about understanding that everyone is different. So how can you connect more? How can you become more likable? How can you get to the point where people want to work with you? And today's about strong communication skills. So what does communication mean to you? I want you to take a couple minutes and think about it, right? Just jot down everything you can. I'm pretty sure you got a blank sheet of paper on the worksheet. But what does communication mean to you? Like, just off the top of your head, what do you think of? What do you think communication is? What do you think positive communication is? What do you think negative communication is? How do you think we connect with people, right? If you're at an open house, how do you think you connect with people? How do you think is the best way to communicate with someone? How do you think is the best way to influence people, right? How do you think is the best way to help people push forward to actually sell their home if it's what's really important to them, if it's what they need to do? What does communication mean to you? So communication, I love talking about communication. First one is words, right? Communication is words. It's what we say, right? It's what we do. And this is not just what we say verbally, but it's also what we say online. It's what we say in our emails. It's what we say in our taglines, right? Words, it's all about words and word creation. And I'm sure you've all heard there's that communication is 7% words, 38% tonality, and 55% body language. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But I think it's more than that, right? It's really important that you learn how to speak verbally and how to write better. And that has a lot to do with learning scripts, right? Or learning the business. And you'll learn that over time, okay? That'll come. But remember, communication is words, verbal and what you're written, oral and written. The next one is tone of voice. It's how we say it, right? How are you saying it? Are you saying it with a lot of enthusiasm? Or are you saying, hey, this is AJ. I was wondering if you were thinking about selling a home. I mean, what's going to be better? Hey, this is AJ, and I was just calling to see if you had any questions about real estate. Have you been thinking about buying a home or selling a home in the next 6 to 12 months? Did you see the difference in that? It's huge, and it's how you connect with people. It's how you get people excited, right? People get excited about how you get excited, and tonality is so big. We're going to talk about this here in a minute. And the other piece is body language, right? It's your physiology. It's your appearance. It's your movements, it's your gestures, it's your facial expressions. It's all about the body. So communication is 3 different things. It's what we say, it's what we write, it's our tonality, it's our volume, it's our speed. We're going to go through this in a second. And it's our body language, right? What is the body saying, right? Is it closed off? Is it open to communication? Is it space? You ever have somebody come talk to you and they walk up right to you and they're right in your face? It's a little uncomfortable, isn't it? Oh my gosh, you got to have sometimes space. It's all of those things. So how are you communicating to the world? How are you communicating to people, right? Are you connecting with them? That's what today's all about, because communication is key. In the real estate process, you will see an arrow at the bottom, and it has communication written across the whole thing. How you communicate will determine how much business you do, how well you do it, how well you convert it, right? And the biggest complaint that buyers and sellers have, the number one complaint, if you ask everyone in America, right, what is the biggest issue when they have a bad experience with buying or selling a home? It's always communication. Communication is key. It's how much you communicate, how often you communicate, and how well you are at communicating, okay? So it's a big, powerful session today, and there is no way that we can go through all of it in 1 hour. This is kind of just the stepping stone. This is Communication 101, and we're here to help. All right, so strong communication skills. Here's the first one, verbal and nonverbal, right? You got verbal communication and you have nonverbal communication, and we're gonna go through both. We got active listening, right? How well are you listening, and are you actively listening? We got number 3, clear messaging. Is your messaging clear? Do people understand what you're saying, right? Do they understand what to expect? Oh my gosh, expectation. I want you to write it down, expectation. Because if you tell buyers and sellers what to expect, you have less objections, you have less issues, right? They understand exactly what to expect from you in the process. So key, especially with sellers, right? Because what happens is a lot of agents will list a home, and if it doesn't sell right away, they stop communicating with their people because they're afraid to. They don't know what to say, right? That's what happens. That's why homes expire, is because they don't have strong consulting. Agents aren't telling them exactly what they need to hear. So are you clear with your messaging? And are you asking powerful questions? Do you ask questions more than you tell? Right? It's really important as a real estate agent for you to ask yourself powerful questions and to ask your buyers and sellers, because that's how you get to the root. That's how you get to the goal. That's how you get to their why. That's how you get to the understanding of how to best help them, right? And it'll help you because it makes it less stressful. It makes it a lot easier, and that's what we want to help you do. So, verbal. We're going to start with verbal skills, right? What does verbal mean? What kind of verbal skills are we talking about? And the first one is written and oral, right? We're talking about verbal being what's in written and what you say, okay? It's sounds, right? What kind of sounds are you making, right? It's so funny. The first thing I just thought of was like burping, right? Because I tend to be a little gassy. But like what kind of sounds are you hearing? Because if it's a certain sound, have you ever met somebody who has like one of those annoying voices? Right now, it's not their fault, and we got to be careful we don't judge, but what does that do, right? When you have somebody who has a voice that kind of like really bothers you, it's really either high-pitched, right, or it's kind of squeaky, or they've got kind of a scratch in their voice, like you notice it. It affects your mind. It affects how you listen to them. And so you want to make sure that you're paying attention to what kind of sounds that you're making when you're speaking. And we're going to talk about active listening in a second. Tonality, right? What kind of tone are you setting? What kind of tone, what kind of volume? Are you speaking really high? Are you speaking really low? And have you ever heard about mirroring and matching? So we don't have that in as a strategy today. We're going to be talking about that. But I want to make sure you understand that one of the best ways to communicate and connect with somebody is to match their tone and their volume, right? If you're calling people and they answer the phone really vibrant, hey, how's it going? Hey, I'm doing great. How are you? You want to match them and you want to guide through it. If you have somebody you call and they're kind of grumpy, right? I actually like when you call somebody and it's really bad, it's like, hello. You want to match that. You want to say, hello, this is AJ. And what you do is you can bring them up and down once you mirror and match them. But tonality is part of verbal. Your volume. You ever talk to somebody who speaks really loud and you're like, oh my gosh, can you please tone it down? Or do you ever talk to somebody who talks really quiet, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm old and I've listened to a lot of loud music. I really can't hear you. Can you speak up a little bit? You got to pay attention to volume, right? If you're speaking too loud, people can't focus, right? And when you're trying to help people make decisions, and when you're trying to help people hire you to do the job of buying and selling, you want to learn how to communicate best so that they stay in the zone. They stay with you and you don't lose them, okay? The next one is speed. I had to work on this for a long time. You ever go to a training seminar and somebody's speaking really fast and you just can't even keep up, right? You got to be really focused on your speed. Sometimes I get really out of hand and I get really excited and I want to talk really fast and I want to tell you all of the details as much as I can so that it all gets into your brain. Well, guess what? You're not going to catch any of that, right? We got to make sure that we're pausing. We have to make sure we're giving people time to process. We want to make sure that it's sinking into their subconscious when we're speaking to them because it's so important, okay? Verbal is storytelling. How good are you telling stories, right? One of the greatest things is as you gain experience in real estate. So here's a fun thing. If you're brand new in real estate and you don't have any stories yet about real estate, talk to some top producers. Listen around the office, listen to your mentors and your coaches, and listen for stories that you can use, because stories help connection, right? Stories is part of verbal communication. And so when you can start telling stories, so for instance, let's say you go on a listing appointment, right? And the their main goal is to get back to wherever their grandkids live, right? You can relate to them. It's very easy. Man, you know what? I've worked with a lot of people that have made the decision to move closer to the grandkids because they realize that it's so important for them to spend that time with them now. And so what you're doing is extremely common, and I've been there before. I know how to help you out. See how that is, the little different? The other piece is especially, I like this, families that want to upgrade. They want a bigger house because they're growing their family. So one of the things is that typically they have to sell one home in order to buy another. And a lot of people are stressed and scared about that process. How do we sell this home and buy another home? Where do we live in between? Okay, so I've helped a lot of families do that, right? It can be extremely stressful, setting expectation. It can be really hard to do a dual closing and move from one house into another. Like, definitely some things can go wrong, but we do it all the time. If we make sure that we plan properly, we find the right house, the right opportunity, it can be done with very little stress. And I'm here to help guide you through that process. And this is how we do it. We do blah, 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 A, B, C, okay? Storytelling, helping people understand that you've been there before through story is great to help you with verbal communication. The next one is intrapersonal. So it's not just verbal speaking and it's not just written, it's also your self-talk, right? You gotta be thinking about your self-talk because that's what you're saying to yourself. Ooh, that's a big one. If you're telling yourself it won't work, guess what? It probably won't work. If you tell yourself it will work, then it probably will. As you start getting better at communicating with people, you also have to improve how you communicate to yourself. And you got to be so careful listening to yourself because most of the time it's not even real. It's not even a fact. And so as you continue to grow in your journey of building your real estate business, we're going to help you also grow in your life. And interpersonal conversation, your self-talk, is really key. And if that's a big one for you, circle it, right? Write it down, circle it, and just start thinking about every day when you hear a voice in your head or you hear a thought or you're telling yourself something, you need to jot it down and be like, oh my gosh, is that even real? Like, is that even true? Like, is it really true it won't work? Probably not, because everything can work with enough time, energy, effort, learning, challenge, right? I think we got one more, humor. Humor is a form of verbal communication. Now, I'm not really the funniest guy in the world, right? But have you ever seen and watched somebody who uses humor in the conversation, right? That's part of verbal skills, is able to use humor to get people to laugh, to enjoy, to get them comfortable in talking with you. So having a little bit of humor is important, especially in sales and communication and consulting and coaching and helping people buy and sell homes. And now we got nonverbal. So we got verbal communication and we have nonverbal communication. Now remember, verbal communication is smaller. The value of verbal communication is actually smaller than nonverbal. Nonverbal is where you get the real magic, is where you really get the huge connection piece. When you start learning all of the different ways to help yourself communicate non-verbally, it's going to be amazing the amount of conversions that you get. See, what happens is that if you're getting good at talking to people, right, and being on the phone, somebody said recently, like they said that they don't believe that you can connect with somebody on the phone, and I completely disagree with that. I built my business connecting with people on the phone. So you can connect with people in any sort of arena, especially if you understand verbal and nonverbal. When you're on the phone, you can connect with somebody non-verbally just as much as you can face-to-face. Because when you understand the value of facial expressions, tonality, volume, mirror, matching, body language, you can push that through the phone. When you imagine yourself in front of them face-to-face, it will change the way you do business. Real little tip, every phone call you make, doesn't matter, instead of just being on the phone, I want you to imagine that person is standing in front of you, that you're talking to them face to face, because it's a different way of communicating. They're gonna feel it from you. Like right now, I'm picturing you standing in front of me. I'm not picturing myself looking at a camera. And there's a big difference with how I would interact with somebody if I didn't think they were in front of me, right? So really important to get is to start imagining yourself in front of somebody in every conversation. Even when you're typing an email or when you're typing something online, right? Or you're on social media, think about what you would actually say when you're in front of the person. If you were doing a presentation in front of a group of people, if you were at an appointment with a buyer and seller, right? How do you want to portray yourself? How do you want them to feel? How do you want them to hear you? What do you want them to expect? Because as you create that type of communication in your life, it becomes natural. It becomes who you are. And now you connect with everybody you're with, and you don't even have to think about it. I don't have to think about questions to ask anymore because I've studied so many scripts. I've had so many conversations in my life. I've had so many experiences and scenarios that once you understand how to connect with people, right, it becomes part of who you are. And that's what our goal is. Our goal is to just touch the surface in the next 90 days. But over the next year, over the next 2 years, over the next 5 years, as you become an expert in people skills, you will enjoy your life more. You'll have more results. You will help more people. See, that's what it's about. It's about helping more people. And the only way to help more people is to get better at your people skills and your communication. So nonverbal, here we go. There is a lot more than just what's on this screen. But again, we're going to touch the surface a little bit today. So body language, what's your body saying? What is your appearance? I don't even know if appearance is up here, but we're about to find out. We're going to talk about it anyways. What is your appearance? So when you wake up in the morning and you leave the house, what do you want your appearance to be, right? What do you want people to think of you? Are you going to a listing appointment? Have you taken a shower, right? Have you brushed your teeth? Have you put on deodorant? Gosh, I hope so. Have you combed your hair? What do your clothes look like, right? What do your hands look like? What does your facial look like, right? Like, what does your appearance look like? Because that's part of communicating. You're telling the world something about you. Do people judge you? Unfortunately, they do, right? As soon as you meet somebody, you're automatically judging them based on their appearance. It's human nature, right? And so how can you make sure that that first impression based purely on appearance is going to help you communicate, right? Really important. Next one, appearance. It was there. So again, what do you look like on a daily basis? That's part of nonverbal. What is the presentation face to face? It's funny because a lot of times I just want to get up in the morning, throw on some shorts and a t-shirt and go to work and work in the office. But I always stop myself and say, what if? What if I got an appointment today? What if I ran into somebody that I know? What if, right? What if you had the opportunity to do business? You got to be ready to do business every day, every morning, every afternoon, right? Every evening. You got to be ready for business if you're out in the world. And it also helps you feel good. It not only helps connect, but it'll help you feel good being ready to rock it out, to crush it. Next one is eye contact. Oh, eye contact is so huge. So really key. If you ever meet me face to face, if you ever have the opportunity for us to work one-on-one, you're going to see that I'm extremely focused on eye contact. Now, I don't give people like the weird one-eyed Willy look, right? But it's important that having eye contact helps stay connected. It helps people understand that you're listening to them. It helps you listen to people, right? And I have this thing that I do. I always look at their left eye, right? Because if you've ever seen the cartoon Moana, right? And there's the big crab or the shell, and he's got two eyes, and she's like looking at each eye like this. Dude, that is so distracting, is when somebody keeps looking at each eye, and he's like, come on, look at one, focus on one. I like to focus on the left eye because from what I understand, it's the eye to the soul. And I like to look into people's soul in the sense that I want to get a good understanding of who they are, of what they want, what their goals are, their mission in life, their why. And eye contact helps you do that, and it also gains respect. So really important that you focus on your eye contact. Right now, a lot of times I look away when I'm having a conversation with people. That's because I'm thinking, right? So it's funny, you'll start noticing that when I think is usually when I kind of look away is because I'm trying to determine and think, but I don't do it until the conversation is ready for me to think. See what I mean? I don't take my eye off while someone's speaking. I wait till they're finished so that then I can communicate in a great way. Next one, touch. Oh my gosh, touch is important. So it's funny because my wife is not a very touchy person and I am a touchy person. And so touch is important, right? What kind of handshake are you doing? That's part of nonverbal communication. Is it too hard? Is it too soft? Like your handshake is really important about who you are, you know what I mean? And what you represent. And it's part of people feeling comfortable with you. Are you a hugger? Do you try to hug somebody who's not wanting to be hugged? Like you gotta be real careful with touch. But touch is a powerful tool, right? Touch shows connection. If you're starting to have connections with someone, sometimes a nice little, like, you know, you ever been with your buddies or your friends and you're like, it's okay, right? It's a force of endearment, you know? So think about how you are touching people. Are you touching them too much? Are you not doing it all? If somebody comes in for a hug, are you like, no? You know, if somebody is a hugger, obviously you don't want an uncomfortable 5-minute hug, but maybe a nice little, you know, like pat or what have you. But I always go back to handshake on here because handshake is one of the best ways to connect with people via touch right up front. But if you know someone's a hugger, if you go to a listing appointment and you realize that there's one that's a hugger and one that's not, you handshake the one that's not and you hug the one that is. Now that takes mastery and skills to know what type of personality is like that. But again, it's about people skills. It's about helping you connect and communicate more because communication is the key. Smells. Smells are part of nonverbal. You know, I always think about the person who wears too much cologne or too much perfume. Oh my gosh, that is like the biggest throw off for me. If somebody walks by and you get that splash of, and I don't even know what brands they are, of whether it's cheap or expensive, it throws you off. You lose connection. You become distracted. So how do you smell, right? I know that sounds kind of funny, but it's true. For instance, these agents that smoke cigarettes is the worst thing you can do because people don't like the smell of cigarettes anymore. It's not a cool thing, right? I quit smoking 10 years ago. Thank God I did that. But if you're a smoker, like, have you ever had somebody come to your house to an appointment and they smell like smoke? Again, it throws you off, right? You can't concentrate. You're kind of disgusted with it. And so it's really important that you focus again on all these areas because every single little piece of verbal and nonverbal communication gives you that edge. The edge, right? What's gonna make you different from the other two people that went to the house? What's gonna make you stand out? Do you have buyers coming in your car? What does your car smell like? Oh my gosh, one time I made the mistake, I went and got the car cleaned and I asked for one of those smell good things, right? And usually I get the same one. For some reason I got something different. Oh my God, my car smelled so bad. And I felt so bad because I had to go pick up these people. And it is funny because they even said something about it. Like you gotta be so careful about smells because again, it just throws people off. Next one, gestures, right? What kind of gestures are you making? Are you fidgeting too much? You know, it's funny, well, I'm gonna use my wife as an example again, but she doesn't do this anymore, but she used to be a pen snapper. Oh my gosh, pen snapper. You'd be having a conversation with her and be like click, 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 click. And I'm like, I can't even focus on what you're saying because all I'm hearing is this clicking, right? So what are those little tendencies? What are those little nuances that maybe you're doing that again, it's about not distracting people. It's about connection, communication, helping people understand, helping understand what they say so that you can best help them. Do you have too much? Are you too fidgety, right? What are those type of gestures you're doing? Are you doing no gestures at all? Like if you're just standing still and talking, like that's gonna be a little uncomfortable too for people because if you're looking like a statue, it's just a little weird. So there's gotta be kind of that balance, right? That flow, that movement. Like life is about movement, you know, and openness, right? We're gonna talk about space. Like when you're talking to somebody, are you open to the conversation? You know, it's funny. You can read a lot about somebody when you're reading their body language. You can tell if somebody's interested in talking to you or not, right? Dating, for example. When you're out and you're dating, you can tell the girls that are interested in the guys and the ones that aren't, right? Are you talking to somebody and they're closed-minded and they're just looking at the ground like, uh-huh, yep, I hear you. So they are not open to a conversation, but can you open them up? And you can, there's skills to do that. But what is your body language? Are you open? Are you flowy? Are you inviting, right? Man, if you're going to networking events and you're doing a lot of people meeting, like really look, okay, so here's a fun thing. I don't have this in the challenge, but this is your challenge. Your challenge is to go to one networking event every week for the next month. And your goal is not to get business there. That's not your goal. Your goal is to go people watch. I want you to watch the conversations. I want you to look and see who's doing what's working, what's not working. And I want you to practice your verbal and nonverbal communication. I want you to dive in there, right? And see how well do you do communicating with people. So big. And what a great way to learn is by being out there in the world, experiencing it. If you know somebody who's a great communicator that networks a lot, go to an event with them and just watch them. Listen to them. Hang out with them. Pay attention to them. Plus, I guess I can pretty much bet that they're also a connector. And those are the kind of relationships, one of the type of relationships you're looking for is you're looking for those connectors. People that are great at connecting people, right? I love connecting people. Oh, you need help with something? I know somebody who can help you with that, right? Being a good connector will help you generate more business through your sphere of influence, which is the number one way to generate business long-term is through your sphere of influence. And being that good connector will help with that. So, facial expressions. I love facial expressions. I actually did a post with like 9 different facial expressions because I'm definitely one of those people that you can tell what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. I am an open book, but I work really hard at my facial expressions because I understand that you have control over that. So again, one of the things, a little tip is when you're on the phone for any conversation you're gonna have, you gotta be really careful about your facial expressions. I always say, practice smiling obnoxiously. If you smile obnoxiously and you're on the phone, guess what? It's gonna come across friendly, open. People love it, but you gotta practice it, right? What kind of eye contact, like facial expressions is everything. Are you smiling? Are you frowning, right? Are you using eye contact? Really key to nonverbal communication. Posture. What is your posture, right? Again, are you closed off? Are you open? Are you fidgety, right? Are you leaning in? Are you leaning out? Are you too relaxed? Are you too intense? Posture is another thing. One of the best ways to kind of help with all this, and again, we're going to talk about this, is that mirror and matching piece. So if you start mirroring people, you can bring them in the way that you want, or matching them and then bring them the way that you want. Posture. And the last one, space. We talked about space. Be really careful with space with people. Some people don't want to be invaded in their space. And you can kind of test it out. It's actually really funny. When you go to the networking event, if you find somebody who doesn't like to be too close, you can kind of mess with them a little bit and test this out, is that when you get to a certain space, they'll start backing up a little bit. And if you go in a little bit closer again, they'll back up again. And so you don't want to do it too much to where it's an issue, but you start noticing space. When you find the right space in between somebody and they're comfortable, they're more open to having a conversation with you and again, helping you build that relationship up. So we got verbal, we got nonverbal, now we got active listening. Now, let's see what time we got. We got about 20 minutes left. Active listening is fantastic. I just pulled this diagram from online. I went ahead and put you the source here, but this gives you an idea of what active listening really means. And this is a skill. This is something that you absolutely want to master. This will help your this will help your relationships at home, with your family, your significant other, your children, your clients, right? The people that you work with, other real estate agents. Active listening is a skill that you want to master. Now, if you check out here, they kind of have it in these circles. The first one is pay attention, right? Active listening requires you to pay attention. To pay attention body language, pay attention frame of mind, and then to not have judgment, to be open-minded, to have empathy, right? So what you want to do is you want to pay attention, you want to be open-minded and non-judgment, to be open to the conversation, vulnerable, to listen, to what the person has to say, right? The next piece is reflect. This is huge because this creates understanding. So active listening, you ask somebody a question and they start talking. So what are your goals in selling your home? It's a question that I ask. I'm just going to listen actively. I'm going to look at them in the eye. I'm going to ask them the question. I'm going to be open and interested, non-judgment, and listen and learn. And then I'm going to repeat back to them because I want to make sure they know that I understood. That shows respect. That helps you gain trust. See, people will do business with you if they know you, like you, and trust you. Getting them to like you is pretty easy. But this is one of the ways that you build trust with people, is that they realize that you really do care about them. And so when you paraphrase, right? So what I hear you saying is that you want to live closer to the grandkids. When do you want to be there by? Well, I want to be there by this date. Okay, great. How do you think that's going to happen? Again, I'm digging deeper, right? I'm asking lots of questions. I'm listening to their answers. I'm probably writing. I usually write them down, and people don't have a problem with that because I want to remember it. And then I repeat it back. I paraphrase so that they know that I understood and I was listening to what they were saying. I'm going to clarify. Clarifying questions is huge. If you don't understand what somebody wants or what they need, or if you're not really understanding their struggle, I will flat out ask them, okay, I'm really not understanding what you mean. Can you clarify for me? Like if we're coaching together, you're going to say that sometimes because I want to understand your struggle. And if I don't, I'm going to ask you. And sometimes I don't just because I don't, right? It doesn't mean that you're stupid or that you're inexperienced or that you don't know. And this is great for new people. People are like, I don't know what to say. Then just ask clarifying questions. Say, listen, what I'm hearing you say is that do you want to buy an investment home or do you want to buy a vacation home? Or like, I'm really trying to understand. Really big with active listening. So active listening is not just listening, it's being involved in the conversation to help you understand more. Summarizing, sharing, and then again, back to paying attention. So it's kind of a flow, right? It's a continuous, I'm going to use the word game, but it's a continuous game that you're going to play with your clients in order to get better understanding of how you're going to best help them. That's a communication skill. So again, please, it's verbal, nonverbal. It's how you communicate and you demonstrate who you are and what you represent to the world. When we're coaching, consulting, when we're helping people buy and sell homes, active listening helps you understand more. It helps you build trust. It helps you build rapport with the people so that more people will work with you for the long term and they're going to remember you more. Because that's one of the things that's going to set you apart from most agents, because most agents talk too much. They're not even listening. They don't even care about what the clients are saying. They just want to get in and tell them about how they market homes. Yeah, that's great. I can list your house and I can get the most money and I can do it because I do all this marketing. They probably don't even freaking care about that. You know what I mean? What they care about is somebody helping them reach their goals. The other stuff is just part of the process of getting there. And they're hiring you to do that. If they like and trust you, most of them aren't even going to care what you actually do because they believe that you're going to take care of them. See? Big difference. You're not spending all your time trying to explain all the things that you do and why to hire you. It's all about just helping them. Big difference. Clear messaging. This is really simple, okay? Clear messaging is just that. It's about making sure that people know what to expect, of what to expect from you. And it's also important that you pull clear messaging out from them so that you know what you expect from them, right? Do you expect them to leave the house for showings? Do you expect them to keep the house clean? Like, what do you expect from them? What do they expect from you? What's the process going to be like? Because I explain, every listing I take, I explain the process. I explain that we're going to list it on this day. This is what we're doing on that day. This is what to expect the first week. This is what to expect if we get 3 showings a week. This is what to expect if we get no showings. This is when we're going to do a price reduction. This is when we're doing the open house. Like, clear messaging will save you a lot of time, a lot of headache, a lot of stress, because when there's clear messaging, there's not as many issues, right? You can handle it really quickly. And that's my other suggestion. You get a problem or a struggle, like something comes up when you're working with a buyer or seller, handle it. Handle it right away. Because the longer you go without having the clear messaging, without having the conversation, the worse it's going to get. And we want to make sure that you're enjoying every day. So if you're holding on to something every day, it's just going to eat at you. You're going to become less productive. And we want to make sure you're staying productive while using your productivity planner. And the last one, ask powerful questions. Please. Asking powerful questions is huge, right? I work on it every single day. I had a lunch meeting yesterday, and I went into the meeting, and I remember I set up the meeting, and my first instinct was that I wanted something out of the meeting. And I was like, whoa, AJ, you know better than this, right? It's not about what you want. It's about, can you add value for each other? Is there a benefit for both parties for the scenario or the situation, right? Like right now, there's a benefit. You benefit by me coaching you and helping you by helping you build your business. I benefit because I get joy and excitement, right? I love what I do, and I get benefit when you create results and you text me, email, call, and say, you know what, AJ, this is working. I love it. I'm excited. I get more joy and satisfaction. I realize that my life matters. And so does it have a mutual benefit? So I always make sure that I remember that when it comes to asking powerful questions, every single conversation I have, my goal is that that person leaves with something with value. That's my mindset. Every conversation, whether it's on the phone, face to face, I want that person to leave feeling like they got something, right? Whether it was advice or coaching or a smile or a feel good, whatever that is. So pretty much I ask this question in every scenario. What's important about, and then whatever it is to them, to you. So like, for instance, what's important about building your business to you? Like that's a big open-ended question. And people really, it's funny because people don't get asked that question. And when you see the look on their faces and they start talking about it, you continue to ask questions to dive deep. Wow, that's amazing. Like, I love hearing that. How do you think you're gonna do that? See? And then you can keep going. Wow, what made you, like, what specifically, like, why do you have so much passion for building something like that? Right? And then they keep talking, right? Wow, that's really interesting. Have you ever thought about doing this, or like 10 years from now, where do you think that's going to go? And what possibilities are there going to be? Again, you see how I'm asking questions, and they're powerful, open-ended questions, right? With sellers and buyers, with sellers, it's okay. What is your goal for selling your home? Well, we really need to downsize. Okay, well, when you picture yourself downsizing, what does that look like to you? Sorry, I'm giving you like gold questions here. Asking powerful questions will help you get closer and closer to people's real why, to what's most important to them. And here's the thing is that that's not your opportunity to go tell them why you can help them or to tell them why they need to work with you. That's the opportunity to ask them. So that's amazing. Is there anything that you think I can do to help you reach that goal? See that? Is there anything you think I can do to help you reach that goal? And most of the time, they're going to tell you exactly what it is. And then you can be like, great, I would love that opportunity to help you out. And then you go into it. So it's like listing and buyers, right? If they tell you their goal and what it is, and you basically say, listen, how do you think I can best help you downsize? Well, we can go ahead and list the house. Great. You see how that works? It's a lot different than trying to put like heavy closing questions in or blah-blahing and telling them all the reasons why they need to hire you, because they've already told you the reason. They've already told you what they need and what they like and what's most important to them. Excuse me. And now that you know, and they know what you do, and you ask them how you can best help them, they're going to tell you. Such a difference, right? So we're talking about communication skills. What's the next slide here? Growth. We've been talking about communication skills. Talked about verbal, nonverbal. We talked about clear messaging, active listening. We talked about asking powerful questions. So what are you going to do? You've been given a lot of information today. And the key is to always say, what's the one or two things I can take away today that I can start implementing in my business? Because you can always come back and watch this, right? You can always go back and pull up your list and be like, you know what? I've been nailing eye contact. I've been doing great. Now I want to work on my tonality. I want to work on my body language, my speed. I want to work on asking more questions. Pick something and then work on it for the next 30 days. Remember, it's about growing every week by just 1%. Because by the end of the year, when you've grown that 52%, you've set yourself apart from the other agents. And that's the thing, is that what's going to make you different? How do you grow? Because you have a dream, you have an ambition, you have a goal, you have somewhere you want to be, but you got to become that person and you got to grow into that person. And in order to do that, you got to challenge yourself every single week. And we do that through growth. So the best version of yourself. So what did you learn today? What is the big thing you learned today that's going to help you grow? That's going to help you become better? That's going to help you have more success? And what areas do you need to work on the most? So like I said, keep this simple. If you write down too many things, you're never going to do them. So what's the 1 or 2 big things you learned today? And what are the 1 or 2 or even 3 areas that you need to work on over the next week, over the next 30 days? Because this is never ending. It's a constant learning journey of improving your people skills, improving how you communicate. Because guess what? We all fall off the wagon. We all have a bad day or a bad week, hopefully not a bad month. But now that you know, it's kind of funny. One of the worst things about personal growth is now that you know. You know when you're not doing well. You know when you don't feel well. You know when you're not doing right. And now you have the choice. You get to decide whether you're going to move forward. You get to decide whether you're going to have a good day, even if a conversation doesn't go well. Listen, not everybody hires me, and you got to be okay with rejection. We talked about fears I think it was last week. We talked about fears, right? We talked about rejection, about not knowing. This is what helps you fight through the fears, creating confidence in these areas that allow you to have better conversations, to create more relationships, because we're in the relationship business. We are in the business of helping people, and you've got to continue to work on your people skills and become the best version of yourself, because it's so much fun, it's so enjoyable. And here's your challenge, your weekly productivity planner. Get it out. Get it out. Do it. Stop procrastinating. Do the best you can with it. And continue to stay focused, right? Your number one source is your sphere of influence, period. How much business are you going to do in your sphere of influence? What can you practice today, right? Like, I'd be excited. I'd be like, okay, I'm going through my phone today and I'm going to try smiling obnoxiously on the phone and call 5 people and see if it works. Guess what? It does. But you don't know until you do it yourself. So make sure you fill out your productivity planner and put what's most important this week. The next one, your relationship tracker. Like I said before, I am loving the fact that people are pulling it out of their back pocket and showing me. People are getting better at it. They're realizing that they're not doing as much as they need to do. They're doing enough. They're doing more than they need. Like, it's really helping people get to the next level. You want to make 6 figures in real estate? That weekly relationship tracker is going to help you get there. Every week you fill it out. You put how many contacts do you have to make? How many appointments do you need to go on? How many listings do you need in the next 12 months? How many buyer contracts? How many closings? When you look at these numbers and you start becoming those numbers, it's amazing because you will start hitting those numbers. The next one, memorize script. One of the great ways to improve your communication skills in real estate is to memorize script. There's a ton of scripts online. I always tell people, Google whatever script you want. So if you want to work on with for sale by owners, because that's just an easy one, you put for sale by owners scripts and find 5 or 6 of them. Print them out, read them, pick one you like, and memorize it. Because once you memorize a script, those questions become ingrained in your brain. And then you don't have to think. See, active listening requires you to think and to pay attention to the person, not think about what you're going to say. The power of memorizing scripts is that you're memorizing questions to ask, so that when you're having natural conversations every day or in appointments, your brain tells you what to ask to help you dig deeper, to help you learn more so you can help more people. and then follow your schedule. Please, please, please follow your schedule. Make that hour of calls every day, or 2 hours a day, or 3 hours a day, whatever it is for you. Put your schedule in, follow it, improve it, look at it every month, adjust it. I'm adjusting mine all the time, okay? But I have a schedule, I follow it, and I'm always more productive, and I'm always happier at the end of the day when I follow my schedule. It's a little secret, is that when I go home at the end of the day and I followed my schedule, I feel awesome. And I'm still following my schedule because then I get to hang out with my kids and my wife and my family, and I enjoy the evening because I'm not worried about the stuff I didn't do. I'm not worried about what I got to do tomorrow because it's all laid out. That's just a special tip. And how to enjoy life more is by being productive, right? So I've been going to the gym now for quite a few weeks, and it's been awesome. It's a new physical platform for me, and it's been great. And I will tell you, twice this week, I got up at 4:20 a.m. and I was like, you know what? I'm not going today. And I waited 2 minutes and I was like, nope, I'm going today, right? The thoughts still come into my mind about not going, staying in bed. Is it a big deal? I can go later, right? All those voices are popping in. And just so you know, I live a daily struggle of self-talk, right? It's just part of what goes on for me. But I learned how to master the skill of not listening to the self-talk, of being in control of my own life and my own emotions and my own thoughts. And so I made it. And every day that I go to the gym, instead of sleeping in or staying in bed, I have an amazing day because it sets my day off right. I start my day with my dreams. I experience my day, have the energy to do that I need to do. And that's what it's all about. So please continue to work on experiencing your day and following your schedule. And I gave you guys this book before, How to Win Friends and Influence People. One of the greatest communication books that I've ever read. It's a classic. So either get it on audio or get the book. It's so important. And then we got success. So your challenge, what are you willing to start doing and what are you willing to stop doing in order to achieve your dreams? Spend some time on this. Put it in your planner. Take control of your life and your business because you will be, you will be thanking yourself over the next couple weeks. You'll be thanking yourself over the next year. I just hit my 10-year anniversary in real estate, and I've just been reflecting on how amazing it's been. And that's what I want for you. I want you to continue to be excited, have fun, enjoy, grow, challenge, and reap the benefits of all the success that real estate can do for you. And remember the 8 most important things because I believe in your success. I'm excited to see you guys next week. Keep crushing it. Keep believing in yourself. Keep pushing no matter what because you deserve it. Have a successful day.